room.
Does that mean I have to not swear? Because
No,
Zippy never,
'cause-
ever swears.
Never swears.
Never swears.
Never.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Oh, hi, guys.
Oh, my goodness.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Mama. How are you?
We've got so much to go through. You know, let's just jump to the chat right now since everybody can see what's going on. Oh, darn it. I told you guys we're
Gosh darn it.
We're kind of doing things. Oh, now there's a mosquito in here. He's going to die. He's going to die. Okay, I'm sorry, Zippy. The chat GIF has a curse word in it.
That's okay. She's, she's willing to put up with it because she never, ever curses.
I blame the dog.
Yeah,
I blame the dog.
And my brother is in.
Yeah, your brother's in his house, too.
You guys.
Yeah, so, you guys, if we're boring, talk amongst yourselves. That's totally fine. Let's go to this camera.
So,
over,
as you
sweetheart.
guys know, one of the things we always do is we give each other, shine each other up right before we start. But we had a printer kerfuffle, so I just want to say you're the best thing ever.
I would like to say your ability to handle a printer kerfuffle makes my nipples hard. That's what I'd like to say.
Well. How about a little innocent smooch since my mom's in the chat room and you just talked about your goddamn nipples? Jesus. Okay, so here we go, you guys.
What's up, everybody?
We have a few updates, and then we're going to get into the.
Yes.
Oh, Ruppy, nice to see you.
Okay, you do that. I'm going to get figured out where we're at with the next.
So we're going to get into a few things. I'm just going to give you the highlights. There is no Sigler in place next week. As you guys know, one of my great good friends in the whole universe, perhaps one of my best friends in the whole universe, is Maria Walter. She is getting married next week to one of our best friends, Stephen King, and we are going to be in the Bay Area and enjoying that wedding. So there is no Sigler in place next week. We will try and do a little bit of lives here and there, but no Sigler in place.
Stephen King, international businessman, is that right?
Absolutely. Entrepreneur.
Yes. International businessman / entrepreneur.
So no Sigler in place next week. No Monster of the Week next week. No Monster of the Week the following Friday. Or no Monster of the Week this Friday or next Friday.
That is correct.
No Sigler in place next week. We will be back full force the week after that first week in November.
But I will say, dang it.
No, that's my fault. Sorry.
No, that's not your
printer
fault.
kerfuffle.
No, there we go. I will say that the most recent Monster of the Week was a delight. Mike Cole is an incredibly knowledgeable man in many subjects, in particular Greek mythology, military history, and also centaurs. So that is
for sure.
This episode is up at scottsigler.com/YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You can go watch it there. That's the easiest place to go watch it. If you missed it, go watch it.
Oh,
It's 30
Stephen
minutes
King
of fun.
Stephen King and Maria are both in the chat room. Congratulate them both after 10 years. They're finally tying the knot.
Yes.
They had to COVID delay everything too. So it's one of those. Thank goodness.
And the next guest on Monster of the Week will be Gail Carriger, but I don't have a fancy graphic for Gail Carriger.
Because it's at least 2 weeks away. It's not this Friday. It's not. Yeah, it's not this Friday. It's not the Friday after. It's the Friday after that.
Okay.
So today, I'm going to give you GANGSTER shipping updates. It's a little bit of a slog, but things are moving, so that's good. We have tons of Siglebrations because we're finally catching up.
Yep.
We have to talk about the fact that Only Murders in the Building
ripping me off.
ripped off the FDO.
Me off, and we're going to discuss this.
And you guys, today, Ancestor came alive.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about it. It's going to be very fun. So this week, of course, we're celebrating National Chocolate in the Office Day, but I think he ate all the chocolate.
Did I?
Yeah, so I can run down and get some.
No, I don't mind.
I
don't mind.
I had a printer kerfuffle, you guys, a printer kerfuffle.
You know what? I don't mind if we don't win an Emmy this year. Because we have to ABEOC.
Because we missed the always eating office chocolate.
Look, the judges
on
pay
camera.
attention to that stuff.
Hey, Sean, nice to see you. Hey, Sherry, nice to see you. Hey, Dawn.
And let's get the iceberg up
Dawn,
here.
I got your emails. I'm working on it.
Coming up, tell them about this, baby.
You guys, if you have never joined a Sigler Junkies Happy Hour, let me tell you all about it. Sigler Junkies Happy Hour happens on the first Saturday of every month. It starts at 4 p.m. Pacific time. It ends at 11 p.m. Pacific time. It's a giant, beautiful, fun thing. We're not always there. I really love it, so I try to at least stop by. Scott is almost always working on music, but maybe you might see a Scott sighting. However, this is really about the junkies who join, and it's really fun. We get to know each other better. It's sort of like a virtual Sigler Fest in a real-time way, because what are you doing? This is not it.
Nope. Go back to me. Sorry. I don't know how this studio stuff works, man.
And
It's not working out well.
so if you have any time on Saturday, you don't have to join for the whole thing. There are no rules. There's no obligations there. It is an empty set Zoom that Steve runs the entire time. I join when I can. We talk about anything you want. We do talk a lot about things that are not necessarily Siglerverse, but we do talk about a lot of things that are Siglerverse. Join if you want to. You can come in and out. Steve does yeoman's work, staying there the whole time. And if you've never checked it out before lockdown ends, you should probably check it out at least once. That's my vote. Let's see what's next. I mentioned Monster of the Week going to be on hiatus.
Yep. That wasn't
starting this Friday.
Okay.
And next Friday as well, because we're traveling and it's not fair to the guests to not have this whole setup. I know you only see us here, but all like this stuff on the bottom and stuff, that requires us to be in this office with all this software, and it's unfair to do to guests otherwise. So no Monster of the Week for the next 2 weeks, no Sigler in Place next Wednesday.
Okay.
All righty, let's see.
And I got pictures for this one. Go ahead.
All right, so we have content item number 1. We are talking nonstop about the GANGSTER books and posters shipping. I got so much to tell you guys. Are you ready?
Yep. Let's go start with this one right here.
So first things first, poster shipping is underway. Fulfillment is, oh my goodness. Come on, you guys. Fulfillment for posters. You guys know Scott and I shipped all the books, and we had a little bit of help here and there, but we mostly shipped all the books together. Tori is literally shipping every poster by herself.
She looks like she is an associate of Cheech and Chong shipping giant joints all across the country.
Absolutely.
But the Siglerism map will get you much higher than a joint that big. So that's good. And it lasts
get you
forever,
all the way into the Siglerverse.
You can't get arrested for it. Not yet.
So, my goodness gracious, Tori has been doing absolutely magical, beautiful work. For some reason, the exact same addresses that work to ship the book don't necessarily work to ship the posters. This is her beautiful husband, Scott Pond. He is holding what I assume are T-shirts. If you pre-ordered a T-shirt that says GANGSTER, those are them, and they're coming out soon as well. They are doing an absolute ton of work, you guys, and I can't express until Tori started doing it for us. Look at her. Look at this magic. Look at this match. She's such a queen. Come on now. So, before Tori started doing it and saying, how did you guys do this for so how I never realized how much it takes over your whole life, you know?
Yeah.
And she's doing it all by herself, you guys. So we have at least we've got 80 to 100 posters going out every single shipping day. It will take, of course, we shipped about 1,800 books, so it'll take that long to get through them. We're working through it. We also have updates for you guys. First things first was Tori. Thank you so much, the Ponds, and specifically Tori, but also the Munchkin and Scott. We want to make sure that you understand that in that poster tube, the Ponds have added a little special treat that is not the poster. So make sure you shake out that. I don't want to do it because of the last time I mentioned tubes on the podcast, but make sure
they're already talking about tubes in the chat room.
Just make sure that you make sure everything is out of that tube, because there's a little special surprise right at the end for you.
In your giant joint, there is this much smaller joint. It's a joint within a joint. It's jointception. That's what it is.
Jointception, yeah.
All right.
Squeaky's making an appearance because she's fussy.
I'm going to adjust this camera. Keep talking.
I am working so hard with the USPS to figure out what to do about Australia and New Zealand. What I seem to be getting from them is some things went through, some things are going through, depending, but there is no official guidance yet. We expect to have guidance at the beginning of November, so that's like another week or so, where the U.S. Postal Service will tell us what of the options they have, what they're going to do. The options are several for Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore, which are currently the countries affected by the empty set shipping. They are sending, if they can get it there for whatever reason, they're doing that, is the best guess of the people who are at the post office right now. But at the beginning of November, a month after the initial statement, they're going to make an update. And what I understand is they are holding most of these books in limbo, and they are going to send them back to us and refund them if they can't ship them by the first week in November.
Okay.
That is just from the people at the desk at the post office, and they don't have any more authority than I do. So I don't know if that's true, but that's the plan. If that's the plan and we get them back, we'll ship them with a different carrier so that you get them. We don't have them yet, so we can't ship them, but I'm literally every shipping day I am working on it. So Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore, your books are in transit. Your posters will be held until we get past this weirdness, or at least learn more about it. And then we'll probably ship them with a different vendor. If you are ex-US and you haven't yet received your book, I have been working with the post office, like I just mentioned. I am not allowed to make a claim until 30 business days after I shipped them. And I shipped the last book on October 1st. So I have to wait until November 1st to make an official claim. If you are in the UK, the UK decoupled their tracking system from the US tracking system when Brexit took effect. So I don't have any info, but I might have info to give to you for you to track it down. And then we'll figure out what to do from there.
Can I say something?
Of course.
All of the shenanigans going on with the post office right now, the tomfoolery, the infantile procedural changes. This is the kind of stuff that is kicking us right in the keister, and not us, but many, many, many small businesses that rely on shipping out products to get money so that they continue to be a small business. So when you hear about all of this brouhaha about things that are going on in the post office and political meanderings and the reshifting of all this thing that is supposed to be a service, not a profitable thing, but a service. It is a service that we pay taxes to do. It literally is in danger of putting us out of business. There are so much. Oh my goodness. There's so many.
There's Reese Tracy.
So many books we have shipped to foreign places, to non-U.S. places, that for us to fix this in certain ways, we've run the numbers, would be absolutely crushing. So aside from COVID and all those other things, and lockdowns are terrible for small businesses, a lot of problems going on. No, there are no easy answers. This crap is one of the things that just crush small businesses. And my nuts are in a vice, you guys. My nuts are in a voice. Thank you, Mr. DeJoy, for putting my nuts in a vice. There you go. That's it.
Do you have any information about where some of the U.S. shipments went?
Oh, snap.
We're in
Becky.
San Diego, California, you guys. If you don't know that, that is a California is a continental state in the United States, and we're a coastal city in the United States. So we are literally less than a mile from the ocean here. We can't see it or hear it or anything, but we're less than a mile from the ocean where we sit right now. Scott, we have 37. Right now it's 37. I expect it's around 150. We have at least 37 books that went where?
I gotta figure out how to make this come up.
They were going to. I'll ban for a minute.
I'll tell you where they went. Just a second.
They were supposed to go from the west coast of the United States to the east coast of the United States.
I have to tease our advertiser. This is where they went. All of our stuff went to Hawaii.
Honolulu, Hawaii.
We're in San Diego. Where were we shipping? To the East Coast.
To the East Coast, mostly.
The new modernized post office. Now, granted, there could be a reason for this, you guys, that we don't understand. Any postal workers in the house, please chime in. There could be a reason that the most expensive shipping in America is to friggin' Hawaii, and our books went from San Diego to Hawaii.
To go to Raleigh, North Carolina.
To come all the way back to Raleigh, North Carolina.
And
to go to
over
Boston,
New Hampshire.
To go to the East Coast.
Cranford, New Jersey.
It's insane. It doesn't make any sense. I can't understand this. So, but those of you who did have your book go to Hawaii, got a little bit of this man's
vacation.
This man's stank got all over it. And, Magnum PI stank's not necessarily a bad thing. But it is just, what, I'm going to say the word. What the fuck?
So I have talked to the folks who work the front desk at the post office.
Can they explain it?
Well, they start with WTF. So they're so how it works now with the U.S. Postal Service, which is new since the Champion, and there are many people who we know and love who are junkies who work for the Postal Service. Mario, who might be in this chat tonight, of course. Don Wenzel, of course. We have many folks who work for the Postal Service. So I know they're working as hard as they can. I also know that not everybody has all the info, just like every big organization. So the best that the folks at my post office can tell me is probably what happened is a lot of times they go if they're coastal in the United States, they go to a processing center, and there's every UK junkie who has emailed me is like, it seems that my book is bouncing around Los Angeles. That's a processing center. It's big, and it goes, like, oh, this is national, so then it goes, or international, so then it goes to the international room, and then they figure out which countries or whatever. But there are many, so it seems like what probably happened is a bunch of books went to the Los Angeles Processing Center to get shipped east in bulk, and then divided from one of the big hubs on the East Coast, and somehow went first to Dallas-Fort Worth. They all went to Dallas-Fort Worth, and then they got misdirected maybe or sent on vacation to Honolulu. Those are in transit, though. They are coming to you.
Except the thing is, and I've had ask about this, it does not appear to be that we just had a whole batch of them go to Dallas-Fort Worth and then over to Hawaii. It's individual books in different groupings at different times.
Well, yeah, but that is one of the things I learned today. It may be 1 day's worth of shipping.
It's nuts. It's
yeah,
bonkers.
it is nuts. And unfortunately,
happy.
the folks at the tail end, the user error end, where I go to ask them at the front desk, they have a little more information than I do, but they don't have a ton of information. So I have to wait until 30 days to actually get into the nitty gritty, which is not until November.
Two things.
But we're getting there.
Tracy Shank brings up a good point. It was the book's girthiness that threw off the measurement.
Probably.
You know what it threw off? The handling mechanisms. The
You can
handling
understand.
mechanisms
It's hard to get
that
your
grip the book and slide it where it
hand
needs to
around
go.
a girthy book. It's hard to get your hand around the whole book. It's hard.
I try to make a dirty joke, and A did it a lot better. You can't get your robot hands around the girth, and it just fried a few synapses and short-circuited a few circuits, and then, gosh darn it, iceberg heads. Yeah, icebergs in China. Like, they went to Hawaii by accident. I'd hate to see your books wind up going all the way over the wrong ocean. You understand what I'm saying?
But Mary Garrett-
I'd hate for that to happen.
Mary Garrett in the chat room just said, gosh, I wish I could go to Hawaii on vacation by accident.
I
I will tell
know.
you, there are 3 stations at the post office that I go to every day. And most of the time, 2 of them are manned by the same 4 or 5 people. And all of them and I have said the same thing. Like, how do I get accidentally redirected to Hawaii for 3 weeks? Like, how does that happen to me?
Accidentally.
We're working on it, and I know I know a lot of you have emailed me, and I'm churning through those. There's a ton to get through, and what I do every time that I get hey, I haven't received my book yet, is I figure out everything I can figure out about it. I go to the U.S. Postal Service, I go to stamps.com before I reach back out to you, so I don't just say I don't know where it is either. And that takes a little bit of time. So I am churning through them. I have about 60 more to get through right now, which I assume some of those people, having worked them, already have their books by now. They just reached out after 2 weeks or whatever. So if you haven't heard back from me, you will, I promise.
Danny Lundy. If it fits, it ships.
Yeah, it's true. To Hawaii,
Except
apparently.
we said if it fits, it ships. We didn't say how it was going to get there, did we? We just said it's going to ship. We didn't say it's going to arrive. We didn't say where it's going to go. We didn't mention it might go on a little bit of a vacation. We didn't mention it might wind up with some concrete shoes. We just said if it fits, it ships. All right, now we got a serious...
Monty.
We've got a Monty's in the house? Yes. We got a serious problem. Serious problem, you guys. Listen, I got to talk about this because this show, we just started watching this show.
Lord.
We are on episode number 4. Yeah, we've done 3 episodes. It's quite fantastic. The first episode, I will say, once it started getting some crazy magical realism, like people on acid doing acid type things and trees talking to them and things bouncing up, I was like, okay, this show's not for me, but we stuck with it. And then after episode 2 and 3, kind of into it. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to point Exhibit A. Here is Steve Martin Short in the closet recording their podcast.
Steve Martin Short is clever.
Thank you. Steve Martin Short in the closet recording their podcast. And there down below from 16 years ago, hailing from San Francisco, California, that is me in the original Closet of Doom. That is from the New York Times article that was very helpful in advancing the career.
Photo on the bottom is from 2007.
2007. Yeah, 7. Yeah.
He's in his apartment in San Francisco, which he no longer, of course, lives in because now he lives in the underground lair of doom. And is doing exactly the same thing. And also, FYI, you guys, also complained about the heat in that time.
It was so hot. It was... I loved it. I loved it so much. I would like to point out that no one has ever recorded in a closet to do a podcast except me. I'm the only one in the whole wide world. It's not a very common thing that people do all the time at all.
That This American Life, where the audiobook narrator gets caught in a hotel room in Germany and doesn't speak German, like, ignore that one. That was like a one-off.
Anyways, it was super fun to see that. It reminded me of back in the day of just like, I have no gear. What am I going to do? And I gradually started podcasting. And that's when, what's that?
You need to read the...
Oh, it's going to the chat.
Because you're great. It was so hot. That Scott
No,
had to
Nelson,
wear 2 shirts.
The
is
tech
so
TARDIS
awesome.
came later. Tech TARDIS came later. Yes, I did have to wear 2 shirts. It was, I was.
Maria
Maria,
says-
I continue to be a groundbreaker for being in the closet. Rob, I do still, well, no, those running shoes, I had to go. But super fun. It's a fun show. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's very clever. I don't like true crime podcasts. I don't like the true crime genre at all because personally, I don't see the fun in celebrating people being brutally murdered, possibly dismembered, and then possibly missing for a long time because their loved ones know they're. It's not entertainment to me to have all these happy-go-lucky true crime podcasts.
Fiction show about a true crime podcast. How do you feel about that?
Fiction show about a true crime podcast that's fictional, super fun, and I am loving it. Kim Hansen asked, "Do you remember something about having to climb up on something and falling in the closet?" We have to do a whole episode later on that. Closet was a disaster. I was able to fit the current recording booth in there, but I had to tear down all the shelves, which required a week's worth of re-drywalling in the closet when we moved out to get our deposit back. But as Zay knows, I am going to get my deposit back every place we rent.
Every time.
Whatever it takes.
He does
whatever it
so
takes.
much work. And he's not wrong. Like when we moved out of the Lair of Doom, it was totally COVID, no vaccines, whatever. And I was like, I don't care if we pay. I don't care if we lose the whole deposit. I can't have people in my face. I can't die of COVID trying to move out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, no, I got this. And he spent like 3 days all by himself in the office. We had a
more than 3
display
days.
case from the San Diego Public Library, and it was like 15 feet long and like 15 feet high. And
It was girthy.
I was just going to leave it because I'm like, whoever moves in here will need this storage space. And there's literally nothing else you can do with this. It's gigantic. And he was like, nope. And he broke it down nail by nail, board by board, so that a junk company could come and take it because nobody wanted it, because nobody could move it because it was 15 feet long, so that he could get his deposit back.
Got my deposit back. You ain't taking my money. Nobody takes my money. Not the U.S. Postal Service, even if they are going to Hawaii. They're not taking my money. It's not going to happen. All right. So now we are going to.
We're going to talk.
Did you
We
bring
have
up that other scotch by chance?
I did not.
Okay. Well,
But
let's.
you do that while I talk about the sponsor. It's sitting on the kitchen
Got it.
counter. And maybe bring up some chocolate.
Oh, snap, Becky.
So we're always eating on camera. I'll talk about the sponsor while he's gone. So last week, I asked you guys, I was like, I am 2 years into a pandemic where I'm trying to do community service-based things for COVID. And my good friend Sean Dyer thankfully sent me exactly at that moment. He was like, look, I looked at these, but I'm not at all associated with this. And this is this charity. And I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Sean. If you guys have any recommendations, even if it's local to you, if it is a 501c3 in the United States or a registered charity outside the United States, please go ahead and send it to me, because we're doing micro charities too right now because we're 2 years into COVID. This particular one, though, I'm super grateful that Sean sent in. This is IRIS, Integrated Refugee and Immigrant Services. And they're U.S. based, but they do have some global outreach. And what they do is they work to bring services and equipment and clothing and all sorts of stuff to refugees, because most of the time refugees, they arrive in whichever country they're going to, and they certainly arrive in the United States from overseas with absolutely nothing. They don't have material possessions. They literally ran from danger, you guys, right? So they lost homes, they lost friends, they lost family, they lost country, they lost culture, they lost their jobs. And of course, there's a huge amount of trauma there before the fact that they may show up in a country where they don't speak the language as fluent as they should. So Iris provides targeted, what they call wraparound services for all clients using a strength-based assessment tool. So when immigrants come into a community, they do, what are your strong suits? What do you need? And they build a community-based response based on that. They're a lovely charity. They're 501c3 rated, and of course we have lots of folks emigrating, especially now, from lots of places around the country. And they are full scope. They do, as you see, they do vision services, they do clothing, they do housing. They have $2.3 million in 2021 to spend on rental units and stuff like that. This is a terrific charity. It's local in Connecticut. It's based in Connecticut, but it is not just local. So if you have the capacity to share this, if you have the capacity to donate, we're not out of the woods yet. We have other humanitarian crises happening all the time, like Haiti and Sudan and all sorts of stuff. We have hurricanes and lightning strikes and wildfires. And if it's an immigrant-based thing, these guys help a lot in a whole cloth 360-degree way. So if you can share, go ahead and share.
All right, back to me. I got chocolate. I got scotch. I got rhythm.
Oh, good idea.
All right, where are we at? That's up? Okay. This might be a little screwed up because I had a computer crash along with the printer issue. But now we're moving on to...
And Squeak is just going to stay here for the whole SIGLERinPLACE. She's just unwilling to move.
It worked. Boom! There we go. You ready for the junkie picks, babe?
I guess so.
I have no idea which one we're starting out on.
Okay. Well.
Okay, we're starting out. There we go. Starting number one.
Of course,
Excellent.
I should have known that. So this is our friend Kim Hansen, as you guys well already know. And Kim is dressed, this is a couple of years old, but Kim is dressed, of course, as a red shirt. My favorite part of this is the back of her shirt says, "My blue shirt is in the wash," which I love. And of course, as you know, Kim is a dog rescuer, and that is one of her dogs.
Little known fact, Kim is dead because this dog was an alien and killed her. She's in a red shirt.
No, she's lovely and
Facts.
fine. She's
Facts.
absolutely fine. Okay, so this we mentioned last week on SIGLERinPLACE on October 9th, 6 years ago. The Chavarria Sherwoods, who you see right there in the middle, of course, Shannon and Jen, you both know them well. They made their pregnancy announcement at Siglerfest with this photo. New to the starting lineup in 2016. And, of course, they made those fantastic shirts. And the fun thing about this is the moment that also Scott and I learned that everybody except for Shannon and Jen learned that info because they were wearing, you see Shannon has that scarf on and Jen was wearing something else. So right before the photo, they did this. And look at their faces. They know they got away with it. They know they did it fantastic. And they were revealing everything. And look at, I don't even know. In this photo, I'm like, okay, great. What? But look at Scott, because he saw the shirt, right? It's so great. And that beautiful, beautiful girl is my goddaughter. And she is, of course, older now. And fantastic and beautiful. And I'm glad we got to run this finally. We missed it last week because it was too late to add the photo. So
too late. And now we go to this. This was a screw up. Sorry,
Oh.
Trevor. I tried to adjust this, but my computer crashed. It should be vertical. It's
yeah,
horizontal.
it should be vertical, but you guys can tilt like me. And this, Trevor sent me this just because he wanted to say, hey, I got my gangster and I wanted to show you and I'm grateful and thank you and whatever. But I asked him if I could send this whole photo because this is his bookshelf of Siglerism, and there's a handful of Siglerfest name tags, and there's, of course, a black and white, an orange and black fedora, which he wore when he cosplayed as Frankie, and, of course, paperback books and all sorts of stuff. And it's just so beautiful. It's one of those things that kind of keep us together. You even can see the Evan Diamond in the Library EP.
Yeah,
And they performed
nice.
at Siglerfest. It's one of those things that keep us together when we can't get together. So I loved it and I wanted to share it with you guys.
Okay.
And this, you guys, I've mentioned this a handful of times. This is my dear friend, Stephanie Harvey. And I've mentioned on this cast a handful of times. She sent in photos of her son, Paul, who you know, who has had great strides in his XMA and MMA. And of course, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, we celebrated that her husband, JP Harvey, is the current world champion.
What?
And
Wait, he's what? Sorry?
He's the new current world champion.
So he would be he's the new world champion, JP the Terminator Harvey. Okay, I'm good.
But look, you guys.
I'll get you a better nickname, dude. Sorry. That's just what came to mind right now.
Look, you guys. So Stephanie I go into lockdown and lose my mind, right? I sit downstairs on the couch, literally like with my hands on my knees, like, wow, for like 18 months. Stephanie goes into lockdown and is like, cool, now there's time for me. I'm not driving everywhere. I'm not doing everything. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to focus on myself. And I did not check with her before I posted. She knows I'm posting these photos, and she sent them because I keep asking for them, but I didn't ask her all the details. So I'll just say, if you look at the photo that is on the right of your screen, you'll see her in her gi for Victory MMA, and she says, I'll just read it to you. She says, I never send pictures of me, so I'm fixing that. I'm a mess from training in both of these, but I still love them both. The difference in the group picture from the one of just me is roughly 75 pounds. Come on.
That's
Woo-hoo!
That's half a Backstreet Boy, as they say.
That is almost a whole Backstreet Boy. And know what? She did, all she did was I'm going to make changes. She didn't make a splash. She didn't proclaim. She didn't do anything. She just changed her life.
We're making changes.
I already love and respect her for a billion reasons. Oh, she said it herself. 84 now. I wasn't going to talk too much about it, but I love and respect her for so many reasons. She's a great friend. She's a great partner. She's a great mom. She does hard things with ease, and she's so gracious. But this thing, I have done this thing in my life so many times, and choosing yourself first is beautiful. And so I want to say this one thing, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
She says she's lost 84 pounds now. Oh, yes, you have. But in both pictures, she's wearing the same top. But the pants in the solo photo came with her uniform, but she couldn't wear them at first. She had to order extra ones. So in that photo that we see, that's the first time she was able to fit into the actual pants that came with her uniform. And now they're probably a little bit loose because she's rocking it.
Side note, my current book is by John W. Campbell, excuse me. It is Who Goes There, which of course is the book that The Thing, I'm trying to figure you guys see this. Anyways, it's the book that The Thing was based off. All of the Thing movies were based off Who Goes There. And that amount of weight is a significant concept in Who Goes,
really?
in
Yeah,
Who
it's
Goes
huge.
There. The concept of losing that large amount of weight and then what can be done with it. I can't say right now as I don't want to spoil it, but so far there is some incredibly kludgy writing, like verbiage in this. I swear to God, this is what it was like. It's like his eyes were gray like steel. He had a steely expression on his face.
Have I mentioned steel?
And he was very much like a piece of steel himself. And I'm like, you just said steel 17 times in one paragraph. What kind of crack are you on, Mr. Campbell? But overall, it's outstanding. It's just a little bit archaic style. So let's go back to here, and then we go back to, we got one more junkie pick, right?
I don't think we do, but let's see. I think we're in. Oh, no,
Yes.
these are dogs, actually. But yes, I can do that too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Did
that's
not-
okay. That's all good. So we're moving on to junkie/dog picks. But I do want to say, I have never done what Stephanie just did, but I have changed my health profile and tried to get a little bit healthier and more mobile. And it is so much work, and I couldn't be more inspired and more grateful for your example. So thank you so much. We're moving on to junkie pets. I don't know what's happening.
We're junkie. We're junkie
No,
pets.
but it just changed back to Kim. Is what happened.
I brought it back. I don't have any other junkie pets. I didn't see
No,
it.
they're always on here. Maybe.
No,
not put-
I don't have them. Is what I'm saying. I did not see them.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe we'll do them. I might have missed that. Maybe we'll do the next time. But this one I can tell you anyway.
Okay.
This is Kelly Kirby. This is Ollie Kirby's wife, who we've talked about. Ollie and Kelly are expecting their first child, who we know is a daughter, or think is a daughter, and they live in Australia, and they have just been through lockdown, or might still be in lockdown, and have had a couple of rough weeks. But this particular beautiful photo is Poppy, their dog, saying hello to her sister for the very first time and giving her a kiss, which I can't stand how great this is. I love this so much. I know that Poppy is going to love her baby sister so much, and I can't wait.
I will again point out, since I'm reading Who Goes There, the thing right now, the dog showing a great interest in the coming progeny is not necessarily a good thing. In the world of fiction, it's not a good thing.
Now, if you want to go to junky dog pics, there are pics in there that I can talk about. If we want to do it next week, we can do it next week.
Let's see
That's
what
probably
time we have,
better.
because I have to load them all in, and they could be
Even
sideways.
after I've saved them, you have to put them in the program.
Still gotta put
We're
them in the
going to do
program.
that. We're going to do
Yes.
that next week. So there are a few of you. Tracy, you're one of them. There's a handful of you. We'll get to them next week because I want them to be right.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks. Sorry, 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks
'cause
from
we're off
now,
next week.
we'll have a double special episode, a very special episode of Junkie Pets next week on Family Ties.
And we don't even have our own pets,
very
but you saw
special
Squeaky.
episode as Michael Keaton tries to beat addiction, and also we have a lot of Junkie Pets. Tune in at 8 p.m. on Thursday.
Is
on
Michael
Must See
Keaton
TV.
going to duplicate himself?
Alex will duplicate himself on a very special episode of how to
Did
touch
you just
yourself
say
when
Alex?
it's not actually yourself. And that's not necessarily wrong, but it's also not okay.
You just made it a Family Ties thing. You
That's
just
not
said
what I said.
Alex.
Yeah, I said
But we
Family
were talking
Ties.
about Michael Keaton.
Oh, I got the wrong gate.
Alex Keaton doesn't really exist, you guys. Anyway, we're going to do good, Tracy. We will talk about Missy in a couple of weeks.
I'm
I
just
promise.
glad A didn't notice at all the concept of cloning and then touching yourself, but it's not yourself.
Oh,
And
no,
is
I
that
read
wrong?
the time.
Is that wrong?
I read The Time Traveler's Wife. We talk about this a lot in The Time Traveler's Wife.
it's not incest. It's not your brother
Time
or your
Traveler's
sister.
Wife says it is not incest.
It is
and
not
it is not
incest.
wrong. Because I'm not sure about Scott, but
All I
I'm pretty
want-
sure everybody else on this cast has touched themselves.
All I want is what's right for Sydney. Is that so wrong? All
Not
right,
gonna
so
lie,
moving
I'm sure
on.
about Scott.
Speaking of people touching themselves, let's get into, we got Story Smack coming up with none other than the king of self-clone touching, Mr. Rob Otto, Empty Set movie maven. And you know what? You bitches can say anything you want about Tom Cruise. I'm not going to argue with you. That dude makes a good movie. He's made a lot of goddamn good movies. And we're going to talk about Mission Impossible, $1 billion franchise. He's 78 years old.
No,
and he's
he's
still making action movies. It's
absolutely
insane. I think he's an adamantium lace skeleton. That is what I think.
Here's what I have to say. At 33 years old, I went to the dentist because I was having trouble eating things, and they were like, "Oh, your bite is off. We need to get you braces." And I was like, "No, I've had great teeth. I don't need braces." And they're like, "Cool, your bite is off. You need braces." And then I went back 4 months later because everything hurt. And they were like, "Cool, your bite is off," just like Tom Cruise. And if you look at Tom Cruise's profile, his front teeth are a tiny bit off from the center line of his nose.
Did he change it or did he keep it?
He fixed it.
Oh, he did.
You have to fix it because
Oh.
it changes your ability to chew. You have to fix
You
it.
wind
But
up-
he fixed it not
Yeah.
quite all the way. He fixed it until it didn't hurt anymore. I might have done the same thing. I don't know. But now I can't unsee it. So now you all have that info too.
You know what? Whatever. Dude is 78 years old, cranking out action.
not
He cranks out action
78.
films like I fart after eating refried beans. It's constant. It's like all the time. He's doing a great job. We're going to talk about Mission Impossible. And of course, we will have Mr. Rob Otto, Empty Set movie maven. Also, my screenwriting partner, Mr. Rob Otto.
Yeah,
We're now
screenwriter Rob
on
Otto, of course.
draft number 3, hopefully the final draft of Mall Pigs. And it's going to be awesome.
Sir Howard, I appreciate that this is a family show, and you are correct. The man
sorry,
who
babe.
folded, well, yeah, it's the man who folded in on himself, or the man down.
Okay.
Or the man who folded himself. I wasn't sure if it was in on himself. Is absolutely.
I don't think I want to know what that is.
It's yes, you don't.
I don't wanna know
because
what
you
that
don't
is.
even like you wouldn't even read The Time Traveler's Wife. So you don't even like that.
Well, I don't like time travel movies, especially ones where you touch yourself and your cousin. I don't like it.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
But wait, how hot is her cousin, though?
Nobody touches their cousin, but you touch yourself all the time, I assume.
Yes, but not a clone of me.
It's not a clone of you.
Hold on, you're missing the point. Let's get into this.
I am
One
not
second.
missing
We've
the
got
point.
important
I
side
am
stuff to
not
talk about.
missing the
The
point.
point being, if you clone yourself and then you touch said clone where their bathing suit goes, is that wrong? It's not you, but it is you at the same time.
But it's not a clone.
incest. No, but I'm saying if it is a clone.
Oh, I see.
Can you work with me on this?
I
If you
can.
are
Yes,
let's say you
okay.
clone yourself.
Sure.
And then you grab your clone's business. Like, I'm the one who said just grab him in the biscuits. You grab your clone's biscuits, right? Is that wrong? or I think this is a place that science fiction has not gone, and I gotta go there. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'm gonna have to figure this out.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with you there. If it was a clone,
Yeah, exactly. It's a clone of you, but it's not you, but it is you.
It depends on when you meet the clone. If you're like,
tell me
hey,
more.
let me take you out of this we do this like this, like this, Shaboop, shaboop.
Yes.
And then it goes.
Are you talking about?
Hang on. And then there's all this dry ice that
yucky.
like, and you literally like, you've been all to the barber or the hairstylist, and there's that little barbicide jar that has the little chrome top that you have to spin and pull out.
Gross.
If you do that with a clone of yourself, which of course you're going to need help doing because I'm a big girl, so you have to.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like a fetal clone, like the fetus.
No. If it comes out and looks just like me, but we have the exact same memories up until
We're gonna
that
go to
point.
the chat room. I wonder what the people have to say about this. Continue, baby.
If at that moment I'm like, hey, baby, I don't know what would happen. But at that moment, we both have all the same memories. I don't think I dig myself that much. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think I dig myself that much.
I can go up. I can up level at one level.
Oh, Lord. I'm not sure we
up
need
level,
this.
one level.
And yes, Brian Ma tweet is about to smack us both.
For the sake of argument, let's say cloning is a thing, and you can clone yourself so that you've got a non-sentient version of yourself by which you can harvest clones. Let's say you're also very attracted to yourself. If you touch your non-sentient clone self where their bathing suit goes, and there's not consent.
You can't even do it.
There's not consent.
How do you
but
not
it's
consent to
also-
yourself, sir?
No, because the other one's not. It's never been alive. It's brain dead. It's just there for body parts.
Oh.
But it's still you and all of your bits and all your business.
I mean, I
and
think
you
if
get
you
all
think-
up in that sausage. What happens then?
I mean,
do you go to jail? I don't know.
I think you just dissolve into a pile of goo in your own mind because you've already told on yourself.
Don
You're
Shipley,
like, it
good
doesn't
point.
have any consent. It's just a pile of goo. So don't fuck a pile of goo. Just do the apple pie thing.
Oh yeah. Well, you've never seen Reanimator, then, have you?
Well, I
Oh,
have,
yeah,
but
yeah.
that has complications.
That's it. Well, it's very complicated. And Don, you are correct. J.C. Hutchins did not go there with the seventh son, which is a shame because we should know the answer to this. We'll discuss this in an episode in the future. What are the moral and legal implications of touching your own junk if it's not your junk?
I
it's
must
a
go
clone's
back
junk?
to my brother's comment, though. Jude says, is the clones bullshit still your own bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
Because I do not want to deal with my bullshit. And I can only say, the fuck yes, I do not want to screw times two. You are correct. I am not going there.
Unless you're a nymphomaniac, and then your clone's a nymphomaniac, and then Katie barred the door.
An auto nymphomaniac, I guess.
I guess autodidactic nymphomaniac. That's my rap. Katie barred the door, and her cousin too, or her clone, whichever you want. All right, we got to move on. I don't know why you're distracting us with this vile.
Yeah, it's always me
vile
who turns
discussion.
things kind of wonky on this. It's always me, you guys.
Let's do Siglerations. Did
All
we already
right.
do them? We did.
No, we did sort of do them.
Okay, let's go. We did?
We did. I
Great.
don't know what happened.
I got
here.
some important stuff to talk about, you guys. So we've talked about Steve Martin Short ripping me the F off.
You're going to do that? Well, I'm going to get the one Sigleration that's downstairs.
Okay,
that we
you do
have
that.
talked About.
Let's see. I got to go to Shucks. There it is. Actually, you guys, shucks. I have to go manual. Me and my clone can do a little manual manipulation over here because I didn't set it up. Let's go to this. Headline of the week. Brand new blog post over at scottssigler.com. What do you do when your science fiction plot becomes reality? And the reality we're talking about is just today, this morning, it was announced that a team of scientists and doctors have taken a genetically modified pig kidney, removed a gene that coded for a sugar that is incompatible with the human immune system, and therefore, if this sugar is present, the human immune system automatically attacks the pig organ and destroys it. Even though your immune system destroying said organ will kill said organ, which will kill you, which will kill said immune system. But immune systems are like uneducated voters. They don't think that much about things. They do not know critical thinking. They just do what they do. So let's take a look at this. I got a lot to say about this in the 15 minutes we have left. So this is I'm trying to get this to go here, guys. Sorry. Well, I'm stuck. That's not helpful. Let's go here. There we go. The New York Times reported it, and the article I linked to in the blog post is from NPR. In a first, surgeons attached a pig kidney to a human, and it worked. A couple of caveats right here. Number one, this human was brain dead and as good as dead. This was a human with a incurable disease, not present. The family said, if this will help benefit other people, absolutely, go ahead. Here is our consent. We'll sign off on it. So this person was not alive, was not conscious, was not sentient. What is what I'm looking for when you're brain dead? This person was brain dead.
Wasn't present.
This person wasn't present, was brain dead, will never be present, had zero chance of moving on and becoming a person. So they
Was irretrievable.
Irretrievable. They attached this kidney to this person who still had functioning bodily functions. Allow me to introduce myself. And they left the kidney attached, functionally dead. Thank you, Sean. They left the kidney attached for 2 days, and it worked like a charm. They were stunned at how well it worked. But the point is, this is surgeons at NYU, Langone Health, and they attached the pig's kidney to a brain-dead patient who was kept alive on a ventilator, and then followed the body's response while taking measures of the kidney's function. This is the first operation of its kind. What I am going to do now to toot my own horn is, this is not something I thought of. This has been conceived for a long time. But 21 years ago, you bitches, 21 years ago, I wrote the first draft of Ancestor. And a central point of Ancestor. If you guys have been watching me for a while, I talk about how my books are not one source of inspiration, but like 3, 4, 5, all coming together to make this schmoz of ideas.
You always say that great about Nocturnal, if you want to add that one little, the duck blinds and the...
For Nocturnal, real quick, it's you're walking by human beings. The homeless situation in San Francisco was bad then, is way worse now. And for society to function, you're kind of moving past these people, and they're all, a lot of them are covered under blankets or sleeping bags. And I thought about, deer blinds. And, the objective...
deer or duck?
Deer blinds.
Okay.
The objective is to stay hidden from the thing you are predating. So we'll come back to Nocturnal at another time. But with Ancestor, it was the idea of, okay, so transgenic... Is that right? Transgenic? Yeah, transgenic transplantation, taking parts from an animal, putting them in a human. Doesn't work because the human immune system attacks them. Okay, what if we cure this? And then you run into the problem of a potential zoonosis. When you bring in an organ from an animal, you are bringing in all of that animal organ's viruses and all of its bacteria, etc. You run the chance that there is something, even though we're both mammals, there is something in pigs that cannot infect humans, except if it comes into a human body full of all the pig cells, maybe it replicates, maybe it mutates. Eventually, you're going to an X factor where you can potentially get a virus that humans have zero defense, that has never, ever, ever, ever been introduced into the human species, and therefore we have no... I'm losing all my terms. We have no historical, biological, history. We have no immune history to this thing.
Yeah.
So there's starting from scratch. The reason a lot of us can fight off the flu or COVID and some of us die is there's a body of work, so to speak, in your immune system that eventually, out of 100 people, 80 of them have this thing that has already experienced this viral protein coding and can beat it. So you got your transgenic transplantation. Xenotransplantation, there it is, thank you. Xenotransplantation, then you've got a potential for zoonosis, which is a virus jumping species, and then a whole bunch of other things go down in Ancestor. But the basis of Ancestor is genetically engineering pigs so that their organs are harvestable and transplantable into human beings, where the human immune system will not automatically reject them. Boom, as Rob would say, boom, $1 million idea. $34 billion idea based on my estimates of the amount of people waiting for organ transplants every year, expanding medical care in third world countries, second world countries, etc. It's a big business. This will be a giant business because it will keep people alive. So it's just been super cool to see this actually come to fruition. And now, 21 years ago, I started a book where the book begins with them doing this very thing. And now they have done this very thing, and man, it's super duper cool. They've done it. It works. It's going to be a while before it's rolled out on a mass scale, but this technology will save 8,000 to 15,000 lives per year.
Well,
and
not at the cost of another human life.
That's the
right?
thing, yeah.
Now, Scott and I gave up eating mammals because eventually you realize mammals are thoughtful.
You scotch them.
And we are mammals, they are mammals, right? So we gave up eating mammals mostly to try and account for this. So I appreciate there are some people in the chat room who are like, hey, pigs are very intelligent creatures, and that's absolutely true. And they, in this case, are subjugated for our purposes. That said, this is the first step to successfully, we can grow an organ thanks to Kalimura and everyone else in Sigler Junkies. We know that you can attach a human ear to a human ankle with no problem and let it grow. And now we know that you can use a pig organ grown for transplant in a human body. Mm-hmm. And the next step is, I say next step, and that's like another dozen years or more, is to make that compatibility closer and closer and closer together. But this is possible, and this would be possible for everything. And it's a beautiful thing, I think. I was born with bad kidneys and would love the idea that there is for lack of any sensitivity here, a 3D printable kidney for me, like some way for me to get fixed.
And growing organs on a scaffolding, a collagen scaffold, and then introducing your own stem cells and learning how to program stem cells so that you can grow an ear, which we've already done. But eventually be able to grow a kidney, grow a heart, grow lungs. That is... It will happen at some point, but probably not in our lifetime, probably not in the next generation's lifetime. But right now, yes, pigs are intelligent. Yes, they are mammals. Yes, you can scooch them and they go, they make noises. But at the end of the day, if you got to choose between a pig and a human life, that's an automatic decision. No question. I'm not going to ask that a single time. Always the human life is going to come first. And what A was talking about is the fact that organ transplantation right now is a zero-sum game. If you've got a dodgy organ and it's going to kill you, the only way you get to live once it goes kaput or it's on its way out is for another human being to die and give you that organ. That is the only answer up until today, bitches. So that's very exciting. So that is Ancestor.
And as a caveat, I will say I am not at risk of dying from my congenital kidney abnormality, even though I was like, if you need a new kidney, and I went like this, and you're at risk of dying, I didn't know the whole script. So don't worry. I'm fine. I'm healthy. I'm staying home because I can't maybe be vented. But other than that, I'm fine.
Also, if A's kidney does go kaput, you guys should stay away from me because I'm getting an unmarked white van with no windows, and I'm going to find someone with a kidney. We're going to go collect a goddamn kidney.
I'm going to be fine. I have you. I have you. I'm going to be fine. So
that's a minus zero-sum game for some poor bastard out there. I can tell you that right now. Oh, shit, that's legally... I didn't say it. I'm joking. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's all a joke, you guys. I'm joking about the kidneys because they're fun.
Yeah, and Sherry Hare she works in transplant, and she's in the chat room right now, and she makes a very good point. There are several organs in the human body where you can donate as a living donor. You can donate a kidney. You can donate part of your liver. I'm sure there are more. You can donate some of your skin. There are donations that you can make as a living donor. You don't have to sacrifice your life to do. Also, as I understand it right now, in the United States, you cannot sacrifice your life for a donation or anywhere else in the world. But I might be wrong about that. But yes, absolutely. You can be an organ donor. Oh, wow. And I will mention this just because we're talking about it. As a person who has had bad kidneys their entire life, I hear a lot this idea of if I check the organ donation on my driver's license little spot and the EMT who comes to my accident has a sister who needs a kidney, they may let me die. Yeah, that's not how any of that works. Sherry is one of many, thousands of checkpoints where it's not just, oh, you have a kidney? Let me stick that in. It's not like it is like a carburetor. You can't put a carburetor from a Chrysler into a Maserati. You can't do that.
What if you
have to do all, no, well, okay. It won't work. You can get it in there, but it won't work. That's exactly the point. So if any of you are organ donation resistant in your own country, I would genuinely, as a person who is always at risk of needing an organ donation, I would encourage you all to examine that before it's necessary and see how unlikely and impossible it is for you to say, yes, I would donate my organs if my life is at risk, my life is over. And somebody looking at that and saying, like, I can sell this kidney on the black market or whatever.
Here's the new acid test for all of you to keep in mind. And you can share this with other people if you like. If you think about that, like, I believe that if you have the organ donation marked in your driver's license, you get in an accident, they'll do away with you so that they can harvest your organs. Replace that with, instead of, I believe, like, I read on Facebook that if you get into an accident and you have your organ donor card checked, they're great. Anything where you say, that sounds like something someone read on Facebook, or that sounds like someone saying, I have a lot of friends in the medical industry and they've all told me that this happens all the time. Those two things, keep your ear open for that. That is the cancer of our society right now is fucking Facebook. And I would be off it, except so many of you people are on it and we love it.
And next week it's going to be called something else. So all our problems will be solved.
What are you talking about? Facebook
is rebranding because the only problem...
They're doing a crazy thing.
The only problem with Facebook is their name. So they're going to rebrand. Listen,
that sounds like something I'd read on Facebook.
Yeah, none of that is true. None of that is true. So Tyler Sword in the chat room says he's AB positive, like he's AB positive negative. This is another thing it's important to mention. I'll be very brief about it because we do have a great, big, beautiful thing to show you. If you don't know your blood type, find it out because there are some very rare blood types that anybody who has it, I'm B negative. I'm very rare. And if you can donate blood, if you're AB positive, you are a universal donor. If you are O negative, O positive, you're a universal blood donor. All those things. I don't know them terribly well, but there are lots of them. If you don't know your blood type, find out because it's also important for you if you get hit by a bus. Everybody should know that. If you don't know that, which lots of adults don't. Yeah, lots of people are O positive.
No, isn't that the rarest one?
No.
Type O negative is the rarest one?
I thought AB negative was the rare one. I don't know what's rarest.
Oh, no. O positive's great because, Mario, everything I said about it's not true, it sounds like you read on Facebook, everybody wants to kill you. Everybody in the world wants to kill you because your organs are universally transplantable. Congratulations. You're going to die. You're going to get murdered.
My
awesome.
poor brother and sister-in-law let their dogs out in the backyard. They both got skunked.
Oh.
So, Jude, I love you. I'm sorry you're leaving the stream early to deal with Cassidy and Ranger, but good luck. I think tomato juice doesn't work. Good luck.
No, it works. It works. I read it on Facebook. It's fantastic. What you really want to do, here's what I actually saw on Facebook. I know 5 car mechanics, and they've all told me that motor oil, brand new motor oil in the can, not in the plastic bottle because it's got the chloroforms in the plastic bottle. Brand new motor oil in the can, go in like that, pour it all over the dog, work that in. Skunk smell, gone, son, gone.
Except now you have poured oil into your dog's coat.
Lesser of two evils.
I mean, it might not be, you guys. Just ask your veterinarian is my point.
I believe I am done self-flagellating my clone right now. Let's go back real quick.
I will say,
hold on.
I don't think that Scott is right. I think that AB negative is rarest only because that's what I've been told. But
no, I had it
that
wrong.
up.
Typo positive
is the most universal?
Is the most universal.
That's
and typo negative, freaking fantastic band. Black number.
Also.
Number 9.
Agreed.
Black number. It's number 5. Black number 5. Fantastic. Great. All right. Let's go. So I'm done tooting my own horn. 21 years ago, I started this book. You guys some of you heard the podcast back in 2005, 2006, 2007. The indie book came out, and that indie book hitting number 1 on Amazon in horror and sci-fi, second only to The Half-Blood Prince in fiction. That launched the career, which is why we get to chat with you guys every week. It's fantastic. So it's super fun to see this stuff come true. And I am de-kidnifying myself right now. I'm out.
So we are almost done talking about this, and we're past 7, but we're not going to be here next week. So we absolutely have to do a couple, 2, 3 more things. But I will say, I am not an expert. Sherry Hare does transplant science, and she is in the chat room. So if she has any opinion here, I would listen to that. I will also say that as a rare donor who has also had a Hep B infection and stuff, I do plasma donation, but I can't do blood donation anymore because I was part of the 1993 flood in Missouri, the 100-year flood in Missouri, and I got a Hep B infection, and that disqualifies me. And it's a transient infection. It's so sexy to say, but it's a fecal oral infection, and you get it from standing in contaminated water and maybe getting that in your mouth. So that's transient, but even though I had a Hep B infection, which doesn't last in your system, I can't donate blood. But I can donate plasma, and I'm a super rare type, so I do that when I can.
I'm trying really hard not to interrupt, but
Go
I
ahead.
have a very important question.
Go ahead.
So it is a fecal oral infection, is that right?
Yeah. It might not be a super important
But
question.
it's not a germline DNA modification. That means you could get your clone, and you could bang your clone, and you wouldn't get it from your clone. I'm just
Good to know.
saying. Okay. All right.
We have one more exciting thing to talk about that we cannot go one more week without talking about. My mother. I have to say this first. My mom, I have talked to you all about. I adore her to death.
Okay, go ahead, babe.
She, as you already know, because I've been talking about it nonstop, we stay in our house as much as we can because the only chance to see my mom is super rare, my mom and my dad, and they're here in California and his folks are in Michigan. So, of course, it's much more difficult to go there. And my mom has lupus, and I will not risk infecting her with anything. And she recently had a whole bunch of medical things happen, and the ponds, she specifically called out the ponds in this chat because she's very grateful for them, she says. And Scott and Tori spent a little time helping my mom with information she needed after her recent ileectomy. And she has ended up with a stoma, and the ponds really helped her kind of get past some of the drama that you do with that. And she's so grateful, and I want to point that out specifically because my mom is recovering, and Scott and Tori didn't have to do that so many years later, and they did that anyway. And I'm grateful for all of that. But we have one more thing before we go, and we'll be back not next week, but the week after, and that's this. We try to do so much for you guys. We try every once in a while. We try once a week to give you content just because you're stuck at home and it's exciting and get to interact with other people and all that stuff. And right before the shipping for the GANGSTER started, so we haven't been able to talk about it yet, we got a text from Stephanie Harvey that said, okay, today something is showing up. You need to be there. You need to sign for it. And we did. And this fucking fantastic card showed up. There's more, don't worry. But that is a Kraken with a heartbeat, just in case you're wondering. And I'm going to read it because we're so moved by it that it sits out in our house every moment of every day so that we can always look at it. But it affects all of us, so I'm going to read it. Scott and A, September 2021. We had this handmade quilt put together, and we present it to you on behalf of all the junkies, and all the junkies is all caps and underlined, across the great and ever-expansive Siglerverse. Thank you for all the amazing Siglerfest and for making it so easy for all of us to be your fans, your friends, and your chosen family. And I will say also, everybody's friends. You got to be friends with each other. It changed all of us. So much love. This is from the Ponds, the Lundys, and the Harveys, but they specifically called out that this is for all junkies. And I want to show it to you because it's spectacular.
It's funky, fresh,
I'm
and
going to
fly.
have to take off my headphones, so you're going to have to talk about it.
Okay, let me go back to Uncle Maine. Talk to me about right here. We're going to talk right here? Oh, yeah, look at this. Fabuloso,
stupid shitty shoulders,
it's
so I
the
can't.
awesome blankets made of Siglerfest shirts. You wish you had one, but there's only one, and it belongs to us.
I know, it's so cool. Look. And it's, of course, safety orange on the back.
Safety orange on the back. And it's toasty. It's toasty AF, I will tell you that right now. Let me have this right here.
I
Hold
will
on.
because we have this one thing we have to show. You can
Oh,
show
yeah.
it because
Okay.
we haven't shown this part yet. But I want to say, I have this shitty shoulder, so I can't hold it up tall.
Swing
But
over, baby.
But they even
This
did
is
this
very,
for us.
very sad, but
it's so special. They made one panel that is the Siglerfest final chapter.
Siglerfest Sex, the final
SIGX
chapter.
that never happened. The SIGX that never happened. It's so beautiful, and it is such a beautiful
Stupid COVID.
marker of our commitment and contribution to being part of a world with you guys. And it's so special to us. It literally replaced the Afghan on the back of our couch so that every day Scott does this. Literally, now that it's colder, well, maybe not the whole hood, but every day when he needs to cuddle up while we're watching Only Murders in the Building or whatever, it's this. We're so grateful. It's such a beautiful thing to be part of this world.
Feel the power of the hatred of the Siglerists flowing through your soul. Yes. Yeah.
And as you guys already know, if you watch this show, I am the normal one, and Scott is the Siglerverse absolute golem, right? And so we both love it for so many reasons. I love it because it brings us all together, and it's such a beautiful thing y'all didn't have to do for us, and we're so grateful. And Scott loves it because it's warm and it's badass.
Well, there's several reasons to love it. Number one, I just showed you Darth Sigler, where I can spread the Palpatine and smear it all about your face. Then, of course, there's the whole Game of Thrones angle to it, like,
Winter is coming, and I don't give a fuck because this blanket is very warm. So fuck winter. I'll take the fine. Fuck you. That's 3.
Yeah. Danny the Dolphin Lundy says the great Cornholio, which he does a lot, actually. So you are completely correct. It's so I am better than Scott is at accepting that you guys love us as much as we love you.
I am the great Sighorio. Blanket for my bunghole. Yes, yeah.
I don't think bunghole is a curse, by the way.
no, don't you find me?
that.
Don't you find me for that?
That's a wine barrel thing.
What's a wine barrel thing?
A bunghole is the hole where you put a spigot in a wine barrel. Jesus Christ.
Where have you been for the last 50 years of pop culture? Where have you been?
It's literally
Dude, for my
the definition of a
bunghole.
bunghole.
I have a different
For
definition
the
for a
literal
bunghole.
1,000 years that they've been making wine,
Well,
you guys.
I used to, as a younger man, I thought it was very funny to moon people at every possible opportunity, which Rob Otto and Dr. Daniel Baker, PhD, will probably support my hypothesis on this. And the bunghole is a completely different meaning. Also, the brown eye of Sauron.
No, we're done.
The big
we're done.
red
No, we're done with all that. We're already past business. It's 7:08 a.m. We're not going to be here next week, but we're going to be here the week after. Scott wants to take that blanket on our road trip next week, but he doesn't get to because I can't risk losing it. So here's what we're doing. We're going to close out. I don't think we have time for any questions, but we will be back, not next week, but the week after. And when we do, it's going to be a traditional, normal show. So if you guys have any recommendations for sponsors, they can be, it's not that normal, but they can be local to you, but or international in any country on earth. They have to be either a registered charity in your country or a 501c3 because that helps us protect ourselves and you online. Other than that, send in any recommendations you have. I would love to see that. If you have any celebrations, Siglerations, anything that you're proud of. This has been a shitty year, you guys. Sorry, it has. Last year, too. So anything you want.
This show's always good for a
Let's
giggle.
celebrate. If you bought healthy groceries for the weekend, you're proud of them, send me a pic. I'll run it. I don't have any qualms about that. But in the meantime, email us at info@emptyset. If you have any content ideas for SIGLERinPLACE, if you have any questions for SIGLERinPLACE, we didn't get to questions today, but we will next time. Not next week, but the week after. Any nonprofit sponsor ideas, local or global. And that is info@emptyset.
We will be back Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021, celebrating National Sandwich Day. We're going to need at least 3 sandwiches, and we're going to use the fecal oral transition to talk about we will have TV for your bunghole. TV. We're in.
fecal oral
Hey,
anything.
in the chat room, who wants to see me start a death metal band with A singing? It's,
Oh, I thought you were going to ask who wanted a fecal oral rap. And I was
No,
like,
I'm saying we're going from oral sandwiches to fecal teepee for your bunghole. Do you not understand transitions and
I understand
segues?
fecal oral, and I'm not
Segue.
down for that.
I've already been there.
I did that in that flood in 1993. I got
Hep B, I mentioned.
I wrote a whole different 1 second story right there, which I will not share with you. All right, baby.
All right, so we'll be back on Wednesday, November 3rd. As he said, it is National Sandwich Day. I know, but I have to repeat that so they don't come with fecal oral bullshit.
No fecal oral sandwiches, you guys.
Until then, you guys, you know we love you. You know we want you here forever. You need to stay safe.
You need to stay smart and don't bring a fecal oral hoagie to my show.
And you need to stay science. We're going to be gone for a couple of weeks drinking and carousing, but we need you here staying safe until we get back.
We're going to be gone talking to Something Is Wrong with Maria and international businessman Stephen. And for the love of science, stay informed
You wanna
because...
switch to this?
Okay. Yeah, switch to... Oh, there we go. I should know this
Because
by
we
now.
need you and we love you.
We
and
need
we
you, but-
need you to stay into 2022 because we have big things coming. We have the crypt coming.
If we can't have you, make sure you have checked your organ donation thing on your driver's license. It's super important. It could save a life. Hey, it could save my life. And that's very important.
And here's
Or
the thing.
the life of my very touched clone.
And here's the thing.
Yes.
Not checking that on your driver's license
It's a waste.
It doesn't save your life. That's not how that
It's a waste.
works. It's a waste.
It's a waste of solid meat is what it
Save
is.
someone else if you can't save yourself.
Yeah, save yourself, Susan. All right. Ready to kiss up in the sky?
I am, you guys. Sorry about all this. We'll see you in a few weeks.